This is something in content creation that you might not have thought about, but I just got a little story to tell you. So yesterday I was talking to a dear friend of mine and we were discussing his transition because he's currently a really epic creator, but not necessarily a YouTube creator. What he does for a living is create films, commercial work, video pieces for internal corporate stuff. He's won tons of awards, literally one of the best video guys in our town. But due to some life changes happening, things of that nature, he wants to dig deeper into content creation because as a business person who's run a successful agency for a hot minute, he has a lot of information that he wants to share with content creators. And I think it's very valuable, honestly. So we have these long drawn out conversations over lunch. But one of the things that had my brother scared is the concept of giving up what is a very successful multi-six-figure agency business to turn around and duplicate what's available on YouTube, especially starting a channel out basically from scratch. And you know that old school saying, don't quit your J job? Well, yeah, it's kind of that. If you're in a transition position, which I know a lot of you are because I see the comments as we've been talking about in a bunch of videos recently, you are in this transition of going from what you might call your 9 to 5, or even if you're a freelancer, your typical traditional job, to wanting to be a full-time content creator. And one of the things that I wish I thought of when I did it was I didn't just like cut and go straight to doing that, because that can be problematic. But the other problem, and this is key, so I want you to lean in and I want you to pay real close attention to what I'm about to say, especially if you come from the content creation world, say in a traditional media sense. When you're doing your client work, you're often working with team, budget, time, constraints, all of the above. When you start to create for YouTube, and this is really, really common in the camera channel guys and girls, mostly guys, unfortunately, in the, let me show you how to make films, people. Let me show you how to bring my broadcast and agency talents over to the internet, people. This can become a problem. Why do I know? Because I did it. I did exactly what I'm going to tell you not to do. You do not want to create your content for YouTube with the same budget mindset that you create for your commercial work. So what do I mean by that? My buddy was like, I spend so much time editing and getting the shots right and setting up and lighting and all of that. And I'm like, that's because you're trying to produce a commercial. You're not producing a commercial, bro. You're trying to teach people who want to learn how to get better shots, get those proper angles, get those lighting set up. You want to teach them that. You don't have to go out and put HBO Cinemax level quality footage in order to explain to somebody how to properly set up a light, right? If I wanted to explain to somebody how to use a practical, I don't need to build an elaborate set to teach you how to use a practical. The problem is, if you watch a lot of brand footage, you might see that because, well, that's the brands. And again, they got budget. If you watch a lot of sponsored videos, you're going to also see that. And a lot of times the technique isn't properly explained because they're trying to get in all of the key elements as why, not sponsored, this is just an example. The Pavo Tube 6C from Nanlite is an incredible practical light. It can be used as a key, a fill, a strobe, like a police car light, all myriad sorts of special effects. So what happens is a lot of times if you're watching what we call the camera crew, explaining to you why this light is really good or this other Amran MC is really good, they start talking about technicals and they kind of get over the head of the people that they're teaching because in a way, they're sort of creating a mini commercial. It's why it's a brand deal. It's why it's a sponsored video. So if you're trying to create for YouTube and your main goal is just to share your knowledge and teach people, you have to give this thing like the $300-$400 budget, which is really because it's just your time, right? And that means like for a day rate for an average person working on a set somewhere, a $300 budget is 2 hours, right? For a higher level person like my buddy, a $300 budget is like an hour, actually a little less than that. So give yourself that amount of time to create that video. You have to almost treat it, it's like if you are opening a restaurant and you're building your test menu and you're testing out all these food, you still have to do food costs. You still have to figure out what you're spending in order to develop that business. So if you're creating videos and you're using skills that you once had, you kind of got to bill yourself. So that way you don't overproduce something unnecessarily in order just to get out a simple point. I think this came to me really, really big as I spent the last week hanging out with my homegirl Liz Wilcox, and I'm building out her studio, and I look at her iMac. It's a Core i5 2017 iMac. That thing can barely turn on, but she created over $500,000 on that piece of crap machine. Well, it wasn't a piece of crap in 2017, it was state of the art. But that machine is 9 years old or 8 years old. And look at it, it jams, right? For what she needed to do. And I think we can get over our heels and try to create this perfect, cinematic, like perfectly lit thing. It's not necessary, homie. It legit is not necessary. So if you are creating for yourself, build a budget in your head. Like, what would this cost me to actually create this video? And if you're not the level of YouTube where you're making that money back, you are right now using it as an investment, but don't invest over your head. Like, you wouldn't go out and get a 12-cylinder Merc when you have a budget for a Corolla. Yeah, that's just the thought. That's just the thought I had. And this gives me an opportunity to test out my DJI mini mic, recording directly to the Osmo Pocket 5. But the knowledge that I just sent, very important. Anybody that's creating, especially if you're creating and you're trying to create and maintain a day job. Just some food for thought. I want you to keep that in mind. All right, you know what I always say? I have to say this every freaking time. I don't know who needed to hear that, but if it's you, drop that down in the comments below. And B, I know you got this, homie. Let's do lunch. If you like this video, press the like button, press the subscribe button, ring the bell. If you got questions, comments, feedback, you just want to talk it out, drop that down in the comment section below too. I am super, super curious. And if you like the way the DJI mic sound, DJI mic mini, drop that down in the comment section below. Right about now, algorithm's going to show you the video they think you should watch. I agree with them.
I need to know everything, who and the what and the where, I need everything. Trust me, I hear what you're saying, but act like it's new what you're telling me. I'm curious, George, I hop in the Porsche, it's 5 and a horse, I'm ready for war, I'm coming for throats, to turn to a ghost, I need to know everything. Now you be surprised at the info you get is by letting them talk, so I'm letting them talk. Gotta keep quiet, maneuver.